Hello everyone. So today I'll be showing you one cool integration. So we'll be using some concept of DevOps, some concept of machine learning and cyber security to build up this setup. So before going on, let me be very clear about this. So I'm doing an internship under Linux for Informatics. So this was one of my tasks to build this. So what we'll see today is we'll take some DevOps tools, for example like Jenkins. We'll take one of the cool topic from machine learning, that is k-means clustering, and we'll use some Linux terminal shortcuts or some tricks to do the things. So finally we'll build a setup wherein we'll be doing a DOS attack on our web server, and we'll generate the log, and we'll use k-means clustering over it, and we'll detect the DOS, or we can say that we'll cluster the request, and we'll blacklist the cluster according to the number of requests. So what we'll do later is after making the cluster, after detecting the blacklist, after mentioning the blacklist cluster, we'll find the IP which all are residing in that cluster, and we'll block them. So basically this is a setup which we need to only set up once in your system or in your company or wherever you want. So this will give you a protection over DOS or DDoS attacks just by monitoring the log files of the server. So it would be a complete integration of SecDevOps with machine learning. So you can consider it as ML SecDevOps type of thing, which is just an like hypothetical concept, but in real life it is not. We can integrate something like this. So even I've made a write-up for it. You can even see it on my LinkedIn, where I have explained each and everything in detail, like what is DOS, DDoS, and how to even perform the attack, and what code I have written for the k-means clustering and all. So even I'll show you how to do a DOS attack on a web server using multiple ways. Like we'll be using DOS attack from Sloloris. So if you want to know more about Sloloris, you can search it on Google. So basically it's an HTTPD attack. Like basically it works on the threaded servers with HTTP. So yeah, you can go to this link, this GitHub link, where from where you can download this tool. So we'll be setting it up, and even I've made a Docker image of it. So you can go to Docker Hub, and you can download that particular image which I made, which have Sloloris and even the required things to run it, and you can perform your own attack. Like I'll show you how to do it. Even I'll show you how to make your own customized image. Even I've in my article I've written about it, that how I did how I make the image out of it, and I've uploaded it on Docker Hub. So yeah, these are my previous some of the images which I made. So basically this is the image from where you can have a DOS attack, or you can do a DOS attack, and this is just a test server. If you want, you can download this and this together and test Sloloris from this image or container to this. So let's go to the setup. Let's build the setup. So basically I'll be using two VMs. One would be our Red Hat version 8, and one would be the Kali Linux version 2020.1. So what I'll show you is, first of all, I'll show you that what file system, like how the file system should be. So you can set it up. Basically I've created a workspace for my this project. It's a good practice to do it. So you can manage all the data or all the processes or folders, files clean and neat. Inside this workspace I have made one folder. It's httpd log, and inside it there's nothing inside this. So it's completely blank. So why I created this particular folder or set directory, because I will mount this to where log httpd of the web server container, so that we can get the logs of that web server in our local system. So this is how it will work. So if you so let me be clear about Apache web server, or it's called httpd web server. So it stores all the log in this particular folder which I just now showed you. Even it's running on my local system, so I'll show you the log of it. So this is the directory where we'll get all the logs, particularly in the access log. Test CSV, you won't see this test CSV. This is made just for my reference. You will get only these two files, access log and error log. So you will get almost all the request or the connections made on your website or web server in this access log file. So what I'm doing is I'm using a tail command. So what this tail command do is it will show, I think so, last 10 records, and it shows the live update of the file. So if you do this command, it will show the last some, I think so, 10 records, and it's on real time. If you hit the server, the log entry would be made here. You can see it on the real time. So this is what tail command does. So this is the log of my local system, not of the web server which I'm running. I'll show you how to get a web server using Docker. We'll do completely using Docker. So yeah, so let's first set up our web server so that we can perform an attack on it. So for that we'll be using Docker. So I have already made an image. My image name is web server, which is containing my which is already having Apache installed, or you can say HTTPD installed, and my website code is residing in var www.html. So basically this is the document root folder, or you can say directory, for the Apache web server to read files. You can even check it in your local system if you have Apache, or you say HTTPD server var www.html. This is the place where the web server reads the file from. By default, you can change it in the configuration file of the web server, but by default it is the root directory, or say the document path. The document part is this, the directory where server reads the file from. So we'll go to our workspace, and now we'll do a setup. First of all, we'll launch the web server using my web server image, and we'll tag it. I will name it as web OS. So basically the command goes like this: docker. Okay, let me show you that there's no docker container running right now. So docker ps will show the containers running right now, or you can even use docker container commands. So basically, what's the difference between docker like container ps, or what would be like the main reason for using docker container type of command is? So basically in the previous editions of Docker, or you can say previous versions of Docker, they've used commands like this, like docker ps or directly docker run, etc. But in the newer versions of the Docker, they have added management commands. If you want to see, you can even see it by docker help. You will have a menu list with management commands here. This one, these are all the management commands that they have put up in their latest versions, just to manage the services or the manage the platform very easily. So we'll launch a container, so we'll be needing docker container as our management command. Now we want to run an container, so we'll do it run, and we'll run it in the background. So I will use D as detach, or you can even say daemon, and IT for interactive terminal. Then we'll, as we discussed earlier, that we'll mount this. So we'll mount this as volume. Which file will mount, or which directory will mount? Will mount log analysis and httpd log directory 2 will mount where? Will mount in the directory where we'll have our log saved. So it would be this directory. Now here in this command, the the directory which we are representing here, it is the directory in our local system, which directory want to mount to the container which we are going to run. So this is the path where we want to mount this particular directory. So why we are doing this is so that we can get the log of the web server to our local system. Now after doing this, we'll do the networking part of it. So we'll basically expose it, or you can say we'll be doing patting, upon it. Patting is just a network concept which you can easily refer. Even most of you might know that. So we'll expose it on port 7575. You can give it any, but this would be specific because Apache server runs on port 80. So in here also, this is the port number which we will give to the client to connect, and it would redirect to the port 80 of the container, because on port 80 our Apache server is running. And we'll tag it, or we'll name our web server as WebOS, and we'll finally give the image which we need. It's the web server. So now if you would run this, it would set up our web server. So basically our web server is running now, and you can see that after going in this directory, you will see two files as I showed you. One is access log and another is error log. So if you even see the content of the file, it would be empty right now. Obviously we have just set up our server and no requests are made to our server. So if you want to see like real time that how many requests are coming or who is connecting to it, we can just make a usual curl command to it. So let me show you that how to make a curl command to it. So curl is just a tool or command to make requests to the websites through terminal, or you can say command. So we'll normally do just curl IP where we have hosted it. So basically this IP, this is my Red Hat IP, because we have used patting, we can access it from 7575 port number. And after doing this, you will see the content of the website, and you see this file is currently like in live, it is updated with the log entry. So we have done this. So this is the content of my website. So now you can see here that my IP is my current IP is 102, right? But when I did the curl command, or when I hit the server, it logs my IP as 172.17.0.1. Now why is it so? Because right now our firewall is working and our SC Linux is also working. SC Linux won't contribute to this much, but yeah, in some extent it does. So due to our patting concept, this is the gateway of the Docker containers. So basically what they have routed is any traffic which is coming from this IP addresses, like the same network, they will give the same IP address to him. Like this is the gateway IP through which they are contacted. So basically we have to for some time we have to disable the firewalls, or you can say we have to make entries to the IP tables, or we can say that we have to write some rules in the firewall. So not going that much deep, which is not even required. I have made a simple shell code which you can run. So I just given it name, do it if you want. In this what we are doing is we are first stopping the firewall. If you will stop the firewall, and again if you run the Docker commands, it would fail, because Docker also somehow requires some access to our network interfaces, like for writing rules in the IP tables. So if we stop the firewall service, then we have to restart the Docker services, and we have to even restart our HTTP services. This is not mandatory, like this is just I have made this for another purpose, but you can even run this, and at the end we are disabling, or we can say we are just temporarily stopping the AC Linux. After restarting this, all services would be normal. So what we'll do is I have made one file of it. Now I'll make this executable with chmod command. So this would give this will give all permissions to this particular file. Now we can run this file. and it would automatically like to just save the time. It's very boring to write each and every command and wait for the terminal shell or shell to come back and we'll write another. So I just made a simple shell code to do it. It runs one, we are logged into it. So now even this Docker the Docker web server which we are running would stop or would give error. If you check it, let me do very quickly. Yeah, see, you can see that our Docker container is now stopped because we have restarted the Docker services. Now if you see the container which is stopped, we can use Docker container -a. You will see here that our container is stopped right now. Yeah, so you can see that our web server container with name WebOS is right now stopped 45 seconds ago. So let me remove this. We'll do it from the scratch. Docker rm forcefully WebOS. So we are deleting the whole container right now, and we won't see it again. So now we'll again host our web server, and even it's good practice to remove these files also, because this would append it to the new web server. So we don't want this logs to be appended there. So recursive is not needed. All the files in this. So you can see now there's no file inside this. So as soon as we'll launch the container again, so let me very quickly use the command which we used. These are my previous command which I did for the testing part. Yeah, this is the command. So history command will show all the commands which you have run before, and they given a serial number to it. So this is the 969th command which I have run. You can see it is the same command which we just did it. So if you want to run this command, like 969th command, you want to run it, so what you can do is do an exclamation and 969. It will run this command. You can even use this trick to do the things if you know the serial number of that. It's not the serial number, just a number with it is going in sequence. So this is the 969th command which we ran. So you can even use this trick to run the commands from history. So now if you see, if you again see this file, the new files came up. Now if you hit the server, now if you do the curl, so for curl also you can use this same command, but let me see that as we have changed the terminal. So yeah, this one, right, 974. So you can use 974. You can see the output came up, right? So still it's not updating. So let's see, it would be the rules that's written in there. So let me do one thing. Let me quickly do it from my Windows machine. Oh, yeah, so this would lodge a request. I don't know why it's still this. Okay, let me check once again. What's the issue? Okay, anyway, let's continue with this only, so that there won't be an issue. So it would block this IP. It will block this all IPs. So now what we'll do is our web server is running, and it's running very fine. So what we'll do is, even you can take this request from here and you can block this IP, but it would apparently block our own IP. So you won't do this, we'll block this IP only. So that's not an issue. Even if you go to my write-up, it in this, you will see all the log records with the like full IP, not the gateway IP. Wait, let me show you the logs created. Yeah, here. So you can see it here, right? 192.168.9.103. So you will see something like this. I don't know why it's showing this, but that's not an issue. Apparently, it would be blocked. In real life, you won't have logs like this. You will have logs like you will have logs like this. Now, okay. So what we'll do is, now our web server is running fine. So we need to create. Already we are having a VM. Already we are having this Kali-NS VM, from where we'll do the slow loris attack. So for this, you have to download some files from the GitHub, which I'll show you. So for making this easy, I've already created one image of this. So you need not need to download everything there. So you can see this from Docker images. I've made one image. Yeah, this one. This Kali Metasploit Shell slow loris. Okay, so we'll run this. For this also, I've already done this. I already ran that. So yeah, this is the command through which I made an image out of it. And okay, fine. So let me do it from scratch. So Docker, and we have to launch a container. So we'll use the management command container. We'll use run. We'll be interacting it with. So we won't run it in the detach or daemon form. So we won't give the D. We want interactive terminal from it. We don't need to mount here anything because we just want to attack. So we'll give as DOS attack. It's just the name of the OS, like in the VirtualBox we give names here, like I give an RHEL version 8, Windows 7, Kali, etc, etc. So this is something like that name, or you can even use it as a tag if you know something about AWS cloud or Kubernetes or something like that, some technology like that. So this is just like a name or tag, and we want to run my image of slow loris. And now let me see if we are missing anything. Name, no, it's fine, right? So this would give us a shell of this container. This container is running right now, and I have already downloaded slow loris, and some slow loris required some Python libraries to run it. So I've already did that thing and made this image. You can download it from Docker Hub. To download it, it's a very simple command. You just have to do docker pull and the image name. It would be the same image name, this Shubham Bhalala, this full. So now we are inside the machine. So we'd be using the slow wait, first we need to go inside the. So here is our main command, or you can say script. It's a Python script. So we'll use Python to run this, and if you don't know how to use it, you just can take help of it. Now similarly, we can do this attack from a different VM also. So what I'll be doing is this is just a simple DOS attack. And if we do it from multiple PCs or multiple devices, it's called DDoS, as distributed denial of service attack. So basically we can't create a DDoS attack anyways. We need so many systems or so many of devices which we are in control of, and then we can send them requests to do an attack. So basically we have set this VM, this Kali VM, and this container two as two as attacking machines which will attack our system and generate log. So in this also, let me show you the same thing. Like first of all, we need to go to this Slowlorist. So basically, I'm a Kali user. I'm not a root user. So let me be the root user. Now I have to navigate to the folder where I'm having this Slowlorist. So it's basically in the home, root, desktop, and Slowlorist. Here I'll see the same file. This is the same setup. Now you can download this from GitHub. This is the same link. You copy this link and you just use git pull command. Git pull. Sorry. Git clone command. Sorry. Yeah. I just you know confused between these two. So you use git clone command and this URL to clone this folder, and you will use this. So for this you need Python 3, but you don't have to set up this all things. You can get this image from Docker Hub, and you can even launch, you can even launch more than 10 this kind of container, and you can attack from all the 10 containers. So now we'll write the command to do the DOS attack. So it's the command goes like this. So first of all, we'll set the sockets. Now what is sockets? Basically sockets, you can think like it would do this many number of requests. It would do 1000 requests. Now 1000 requests we want. Now we'll decide the sleep time. Now what is sleep time? Sleep time is something that after doing 1000 requests is how much time you need between the next attack. So we'll give it as 1 second. So after 1 second it would make 1000 requests to the server. Not completely 1000, sometimes it would be around 989 or 970 something, because it needs to create the sockets and then hit the server. So this is the sleep time we will give. We'll even give that we want to see the background process, so we'll give it as verbose. Then we'll give the port name, a report number, so it would be 7575, and finally our host or the IP of the the web server where we want to attack. So it would be our IP. Now our host IP is this, like okay, I haven't shown you, so let me show that. Oh, this is a Windows command, sorry. Yeah, so we can see here that my IP is 102, and this same command will even run in our Kali VM also. This same command, no difference. Python 3, Slowlorist, we'll use sockets, let's say 1000 here, and we'll give sleep time for let's say 2 seconds, and verbose, port is 7575, host is 192.168.99.102. This is the same command as we have written here, just the sleep time is different. So these two things we have done, right? Now one more thing you can do here is, you can just to increase the load on the web server, you can even run a simple for loop. It's just a simple for loop which do the curl command, which curl for 200 times. So it would just increase the load, and even you can see that even you can consider this as the legit client of the web server who wants to connect and work over there, but it would see some downtime because of the two other devices are taking on it. So that is basically the DOS or DDoS attack. We'll be doing it on a very small scale, like it would be around 6000 requests or records, but in real life there's a huge number. It would go in lakhs. This requests would go in lakhs. That way that amount of traffic would eventually stop the servers only. It don't create a downtime, but it would crash the servers. So it's a very potential threat. So yeah, let me even show you that for command. So even I have done this before. So from the history, yeah, this is the command. So this is a very basic shell code just to call the website and just create a load on it, or you can consider this as a legit user of the let's say this is the legit user of the website and he wants to connect. So after I start the attack from the two VMs, so you will see that after I think so every one or two requests it would slow down. You won't get continuous 200 outputs. First you will get one output, then it would wait for I think so some seconds. That is the downtime which our legit clients are facing. So this is what a DOS attack is for. Okay, so finally, where is my VM? Yeah, here is my here is my container. So let's start the attack. So you just have to press enter. So it's creating sockets and it has started the attack with 1000. So even you can we have already did the tail, we have already had our what we say logs. You can see the logs are flooding right now. So it is I think so 1000 requests after each second. This is the traffic which we are creating. This is just from our just one machine. If we start even from this, so this is also creating this the same DOS attack. So it's the same. It would first create I think so around 1000 sockets, and then it would start attacking our web server. So you can see it's sleeping for 2 times. Attacked is 195. It would gradually increase this. It would go to around 1000. And you can even see in the real time the logs are flooding. You can see even this IP, right? I told you about this IP. This is the IP of this 103 is IP of our Kali Linux machine. So currently our attack is on. Our web server is flooding right now. And even if you run this one, the for loop which we created to show this as the this one. So if you do this, you can see we didn't get a reply so quick. This is a downtime which client is facing. This is the downtime. I think so it's around 10 seconds right now. It's still going on. It's still going. Client is not getting the website because it is under the DOS attack. And within few seconds, you can even see like 10 requests at a time. So this is not good. This is under attack and it's not able to get the clients. Okay. So yeah. This is what our DOS attack is. So now we'll stop the attack. Right now. So this is our attack. So we'll stop it. We'll stop from here also because we have generated too many log, like too many traffic on here. And now if you go to this, you can see this, the message pop up here, right? That your wait, why it's happening this? Okay, this. Yeah. So now all the 200 requests are made. You can see the downtime which the customer faced. It was too long, right? And even you can check our log file. It's around. Let me show you. Let me show you how much record we have created. WCFNL will count the number of lines or records in it. So it's around 3720. It's even less. Even we can go up to up to 5000. The 5000 or 6000. That won't be an issue. We can even create more. Okay, let's create more. will just run from this one. So it's creating, it's still creating, it's still going on. If you can again tail it, so you will see it's still going on. It would go on. And let me do one thing. Let me do it from this Kali VM only, because it's getting the full correct IP. So now let it run. So in the meanwhile, let me show you how we'll detect the DOS. So in my GitHub, I have uploaded all the files in the GitHub. So basically in my GitHub profile, this is the repository which I've made. Here is the Python file. Okay, so in this Python file, I have used k-means clustering to cluster the anomaly, you can say that there's an anomaly detected and we are clustering it apart from the good things, and we'll detect it and we'll see which all IPs reside in that cluster and we'll block it. So let me show you the code. Even I've wrote too many comments just so that if any user is directly using my code, he can know why we did this kind of thing. And yeah, so first of all, we are importing the file. I'll show you why we are importing from a root HTTPD log. Then in the this is just we are we are doing the data cleaning part, data pre-processing part. Even I'll show you how to make this CSV file from the log file. This log file is very this log file. This is the log file which I'm having. This log file is very not in a proper format to do the machine learning analysis on it, because there are many null values like this, there are square brackets, there are double quotes and string like things, etc, etc. So we'll clean it all. We'll clean it using some basic Linux command only. We won't use any Python knowledge for it. We just now we'll stop that. We just need this machine learning code of it. And we are using the transformation also. Basically we are scaling the data. Scaling data is very must. It's very must in programs like k-means, because sometimes your accuracy would be 75%, but if you do this scaling part, it would boost around, it would go around 90 also, because we have seen this. We have seen in some examples that if we won't scale the data, it would be around 75, and if we scale it, it would go up to, like, it would increase by 10 or 15, so it would go to 90 also. So this is very important. Now what is scaling basically? So scaling will make the x and y, data would have the x column and y column, right? You can say row and column. So sometimes what happens is our x column is very big, like for an example, let's take x is year to 2019, 2020, 2021, 2019, 18, etc. So that is a big number. And let's say our y is let's say the y is let's say anything. For an example, let's say the number of accident. So for an example, in 2019 there were 5 accidents, in 2020 there were 6 accidents. So as compared to 2019, 6 is a very small number. So internally machine learning algorithm would give more weighted to the bigger number. So it would create a very unbiasing result. It would not yield you a very good accuracy, or even if it is giving you a good accuracy, it won't be that much perfect in the real data set. So for that we need to use this scaling part, and we have used 3 clusters only. Now in the market there are many blogs which are even telling that the something about this why to use 3 or what number to use. So basically we use 3 clusters. First of all, there are 2 things. This number solely depends on the data to data set to data set. For example, if you have around data set around, records with, in our case, if it is around 5,000, then 3 is very perfect. If you go to 8,000 or more, you can even gradually increase by, like, it can be 5, 7, etc., etc. And one more thing, it's very advised, or it is very good practice to use it as a odd number. Now, why so? Because in this k-means cluster, if they first create two centroids and then start according to our need. We are given three, so it would randomly pick three centroids and start using the distance formula. By default they use Euclidean distance, and they start mapping their clusters. So sometime it happens that there are some data points which lies exactly between two clusters. If we give here 2, then both the cluster would be in a dilemma where to keep it, right? The machine learning algorithm would not find a correct way to place the data point in cluster 1 or cluster 2. So it's advised to have the cluster in odd numbers, so somehow it would be compensated. So for this we have used 3 clusters, and the other data is same, other code is same. We are creating here graphs of it. We are even saving it as an HTML file to view, and here we are blacklisting the cluster, and here we are finding the IP address and we are blocking it using this iptables rule. We'll add this rule, so it will block the IPs. Now what we are doing here is we have set a limit of 500, so whatsoever IP is making the request more than 500 would be blocked. Now how we are doing this? So we are actually taking just 2 things from this whole log file. This would be the features, or you can say the x, x1, x2, x3. These are all the features which we are taking from the log file, and from this we'll be using just 2 things. It would be the IP and the status code. Now what we'll do is we'll aggregate status code. We'll aggregate this status code around the IP. So after doing this, we'll get the total number of requests on the particular status code against each IP, and we'll then cluster it. So that's how we'll get the blacklist cluster, and if the request is more than 500, we'll block it. So even this number, this 500 number, depends from company to company what they want. Even if you want to block it around 100 or 150 or 200, it's fine, but I have kept it as 500. Now this is the code. Now I will show you how to create this log file from like a CSV file from the normal log file. Now this is very interesting part. You will see in many blogs or in videos that data cleaning part is also one of the important thing. Now for this data cleaning, I have shown you this log file, right? This log file, you can't do analysis on this log file. It's very hard because it's have null value also, this square bracket. This is a very raw file. Now if you want to create the file on which we can do the analysis, we need to have something like in a tabular format, in an Excel sheet type of format. So I've made the basic shell code for it. Even you will see some blogs where you can do this whole thing in Python, but that would be a very extra thing for you to learn. So I've made it very easy to do this part. And even if someone know ELK stack, so this is exactly like Logstash. So what we are doing is we are taking this file. You can see this is the same directory where we are saving the log file, and we are taking the first 10 columns or first 10 details with a delimiter as space. This is the delimiter. We can set here delimiter. But now what is delimiter? So basically if you go to the log file, you can see there is space between each of the data, right? This is the space, this space, here is the space. So that is a delimiter between each data. So we are setting space as the delimiter, and we are taking the first 10 components of the each record. Now what we are doing in this 4 commands is, first of all we are removing this dash and we are replacing it with 0. It is something like find, this is find and this is replace, and here also we are this is the find and replace kind of thing. Now this here, this command, we are removing this, we are removing open bracket. Similarly we are removing close bracket, like close square bracket, and we are removing double quotes. So after doing this and saving it to this file, our data would be very clean and ready to do the analysis. So we'll remove this kind of nulls. Now exactly this is not a null, this is even a character. People who are like in machine learning, they will know that the null character has a different symbol. This is a totally different symbol. So in machine learning it would consider it as a string, completely as a string, not as an integer, not as a null. So it would be very hard to find, like to write the code to remove this or square brackets. So this is a very easy shell code you can use and do the things. So first of all, what we'll do is we'll download this code, we'll run this file so that it would create the dataset to train this Python code. Then we'll run this Python code. It would save the blacklist IP in here. See IP blacklist, this is just the name, column name. You will see the entries here, not in the GitHub. You would see in the local system, and then it would block it. So this is a very manual process, right? To copy the link, then to use git clone command. So what we have used here, the role of DevOps come in play. So DevOps will do this whole thing automated, and what I mean by automation is you have to just do it once. You have to set this setup once only in your system, and it would run forever until and unless you stop it. Okay, so let me quickly show you the the jobs of the Jenkins, how we have to configure it. So my Jenkins is running on port 8080 of the local host. I have already visited so many times. So you can go to localhost 8080. It would show a Jenkins login portal. And now I'll show you the jobs, how to configure it, and how, like, what's the main crux behind this setup that would run it for lifetime. Like, I've told you have to make this setup only once. So I've already made these jobs. Now you can see here it is red because it's failing. Why it is failing? Because I've removed all the setup before this video to show you things. So this is our first job, which I named job GitHub. So what it does is it downloads the files. I show you the configuration of this job, you will see it's downloading the file, then it is copying to our this directory, this log analysis directory. That's why I made this log analysis directory as our workspace. So everything would be handled in this directory only. So in this we just have to give our GitHub repository link, which is this DOS attack k-means cluster, which I showed you here, this one. I have just given this link. What it will do is it will download the code and copy all the files to this log analysis folder. This is just a job, just a simple job. Now I have created a downstream project. This means if I run this once, it would automatically trigger this. It is the pipeline. It's a job pipeline. Now you can see there are too many errors because I've deleted each and everything. There are many, if I show you, I've done this before. These are the successful requests. This is the same. I have changed nothing in this. This is just red because I deleted everything to show you the to make this video and show you how this work and how we can do the setup. And basically it is giving this much error because it is running every 2 minutes. Okay, so why it is running every 2 minutes, I'll show you. And this is the main thing why we need not have to set up this again and again. It's a one-time process. So here we are not giving the link because we have already downloaded it, and here is the main part of this whole setup. This is this is just a simple code to show to tell this machine to run this particular job. This job k means every 2 minutes. It is running every 2 minutes. Now what it is doing is, like, every 2 minutes is running. First of all, it's making the shell command executable, right? It is a shell code, so we have to make it executable. After making executable, it is checking whether our web server is running or not. If it is running, it is just start this command do nothing. For an example, if this is already running, this would do nothing. It would even not restart it. It will just show WebOS. So why I have written this is for by chance, by any mistake or by any system failure, if it fails between this, if it fails between this, it would stop. It would not terminate. So however, it would start it again. Okay. So if you remove the command, there is no big deal. It would still run the same. Now the next thing what we are doing is, we are running this shell code which we made executable. We are running this. So what this will do is, this will take our log files. It would take our log files and it would convert it into CSV, and it would paste it in the root folder of this Red Hat machine. And finally, we are doing this log analysis of the DOS attack, and then we'll block the IP. Now in the code I have shown you that this Python script is picking the data set from the root folder. That's why I'm saving it in the root folder using this shell code. And if this is false, then it would start the container. So this is just an extra benefit of this. So your container, your web server won't be down. It would again start it. So this is the second job and the final job we have to do. Since it is running every 2 minutes, so if it would every 2 minutes it would check the log files, it would do the clustering, it would block the IP. So once you do this setup, you won't have to worry about it. Even you can change this to every minute also. Every minute it would check, but that's not needed, right? Every minute. So it's upon you. You can set it as 1 minute also. So this is the final job we have done. You can see it's still running, right? I told you it runs every 2 minutes. So now let me do one thing. Everything is on its place. Everything is running fine. Our log is set up. Now let me do one thing. I'll again start the attack. I want to show you that it's live. Everything I want to show you live. So I'll again start the attack. Now what it will do is, once I click build now, it would download the code from GitHub and it would start this job. Now this job on the fly, on the real time, would detect that DOS attack is going on, and it would block this particular IP, and even it would block this VM. And after blocking, you will see here in this same terminal that they are not able to find the host, or they are not able to make the request because they are blocked. You will see it. So let me start the attack again. So I am starting the attack here, and even I am starting the attack here, right? So it is making, the attack is still going on, right? Now what I'll do, I'll just run this job, this first job. Even you can make a trigger out of it. In my previous articles I have shown you how to make a trigger of it, but in this it's not needed because this setup would be just running once. So as soon as I click build now, it would download all the files. You will see it is downloading all the files. After downloading it, if you go to this job, it is running right now. On the successful finish of this, you will see that the attack will be stopped. If there's no issue, it would run successfully. Yeah, it is running. It ran successfully, right? You can see a blue ball, and you can see it. The IP is blocked. This is the same IP which we are doing attack, right? Now, if you go to this file, see no root to host. It will go on. It won't be able to attack anymore. They are not finding any host. You see, whether the socket is up or not, they are not able to connect to the host, like on our web server. And even if you go to this Kali Linux, you can see same, no root to host. Even after some time, this count would go to 0. You see, the count is 0 right now. So what this system did is it blocked the IPs. It blocked the IPs, and our legit customers are are even you can see the log file is not now flooding. It has stopped flooding because the attack is stopped by our system. And if you check it, if you check this, like our does our legit users are able to even connect to it. So you will see that it has successfully blocked the users which are not which are doing the DOS attack, and it gave the oh sorry, by mistake I forgot to give the port name. Basically this is the web page which is running on my local server. So now you will see this output. You can see this is not blocked. This user is not blocked because this was not doing a DOS attack, because we have set the limit to 500. This user has only made 200 requests. Even you can check it from here, the same link. If you refresh, you will get the same, like that. Now the other users will get the full connection of this. Just this 2 user which were doing DOS will not get the output, or will be blocked. And if you go to this again, if you see, every 2 minutes is running, right? It ran on 338. Now it is 340, and it's still going on successfully, and it won't end. This would keep going on, so that no one can do DOS attack on you. This is so good. Like every 2 minutes it's doing. Even you can change it to every 1 minute. And this setup you have to do once. Now I am free. I am free to go. The developer team and the security team can now focus on different things. They don't have to focus on the this DOS part. Now everything is like automated thing. Now they don't have to worry about this DOS ID. You can see it's still trying, but it is not able to reach the host. Even the count goes to 0. The same thing is with this also. So even it is recreating the socket, but it won't do the attack. Because it is not finding the host only. We are not able to reach host. So this is what we have made. This is what we have built. Even you can build this, and I suggest you can even you can even let it run. You can even let it run. It is for your benefit. If you are running any website or anything, you can do this. So finally what we have done is what I have shown you, like what is the unique in this. What is the unique in this is we have done this much things which are unique, like which I taught you, or which I showed you. First of all, how to create k-means clustering for blacklist IP. Second is shell script for detangling. We have used this file. Okay, now let me show that how this file look. So in the root folder, we will see this is the log file which we created, and if I show you this file, you can see that it is comma separated. This CSV file, it is comma separated file. So you see that this dash is converted to 0, the square brackets are gone, here the double quotes is gone, and everything is said very clean. And it would take a less than second to do this. If you run this file, if you go to this folder, if you check it here, this is the shell code, right? So if you run this, it would run in just a second, even less than a second. It won't take so much time to it was around it would go around 5,000 to 6,000 record. It would convert everything less than a second, this particular file. So it is very speed, because it is very quick, because we can't risk it, right? we can't risk the attacker to even get a 2 second gap to do the attack, because in 2 seconds it would flood around 3000 requests according to this. And let me be very frank, this is a very small attack. DOS attack happens in lakhs of requests at a time, but even though you can use this there also, it would work the same. And you can even go to this particular DOS blacklist file to see which all IPs. Okay, wait, it's, I think so it is a different file, because it's running right now. It might be running, so it's not updated, but you can see it. You will see it in your, if you type, after some time it would lodge this file. So this is the final setup that we have built, and this are all the unique things you can get. Even you can go to this to view my detailed article. This is the same detailed article, and feel free to comment on it, feel free to ask queries, feel free to connect me on LinkedIn and ask everything. Thank you guys. Thank you.